This is my 10th year teaching, and I've taught in the city of Niagara Falls in a very high poverty school. So I came into that 10 years ago, 22 years old, thinking these kids are just going to do what I tell them to do because that's just the way life is. So I tried a lot of plan A, shall we say, and that certainly did not work with inner city kids who were like, who is this chick? Half of them were taller than me, bigger than me, and had a wider vocabulary than I. And one of the girls in my first year teaching in 5th grade class came up to me and I said, you know, you're gonna miss out on the spring party because your attitude and your behavior stink and you're not doing anything that's appropriate or respectful to me. And she said, I don't give a bleepity bleep about your stupid party, and when are you gonna figure that one out? And I walked away thinking, wow, she's just gonna sit there for all the parties. And as I reflect back and I think of that little one, she really didn't care. And the part I was missing out was what did matter to her, what was going on in her life, because that wasn't effective and it was obvious. So once I got off my my horse and I thought, oh, I'm gonna make these people do and be respectful in these things, I started realizing that there are some real issues that people have going on and we need to figure out what they are so that we can be effective in helping them. Because we're all human beings, whether you're a small kid or a grown up or whatever, and there's gotta be a better way to make it work. When I started thinking, I wanna do better because I know there's a better way. So when we first started learning about collaborative problem solving, I'm like, oh my God, this makes sense. It makes sense because it's real. I think of my profession like I do as a physician, and there'd be nobody who I'd want to go to that practiced medicine the same way they did 10 years ago. So if I'm an educator who's a professional, why would I be practicing anything the same way I did 10 years ago? And it is hard, but anything worth doing is hard. I mean, life in general is hard, but we still show up every day. So it's important, though, that I think we really take the time and ask ourselves what it is we're doing. And I think it's just difficult to be reflective in what you do, to say, hey, I'm wrong, this didn't work. And problem solving, whether we're teaching it, when we're teaching it and we're modeling it, is part of your day. It's part of your living. So if you're thinking of it as something extra to do, then it is going to be like, I don't want to do that. That's way too much work. It's not more work. How can it be more work when you're taking these kids and you're saying, I'm giving you a chance. I'm hearing what you have to say. I'm going to advocate for you. And we're going to do this together. And it's going to be really hard, but I'm not going to give up because that's my job. So as an educator, I'm thinking, yeah, this is really hard, and some days I just want to be a plan A kind of girl. But it's the right thing to do, and more than that it's the right thing to do, I'm helping kids who are going to be part of society in the near future, and they need these skills. And this is the time to get these kids and say, I'm going to give it my best shot. It's not too late right now. It's not too late. I still have them, so I'm going to do it. And that's hard and scary. But we do it. The hardest part about this is sometimes feeling like you're the only kid on the block who's doing it. That is the hardest part. I've had to deal with adults who look at me and think that I just let kids come in and say what they need to say and that I don't demand respect. I have learned not to demand anything from anybody because the only person you have true and total control over is yourself. So I'm going to be responsive to what those kids are saying. At least that's my goal. Other people do not see it that way. Sometimes it's parents, sometimes it's faculty members, sometimes it's administration. It is hard to remember to forge forward when you're taking the road less traveled. Some people just view bad kids as that's what they are. They don't deserve this, they don't deserve that. But that is it's so wrong. These children are kids. Some have diagnoses, some don't. And what I've learned from reading is that it really doesn't matter. Because if you're lagging a skill, you're lagging a skill. And these children need us. They need us to be progressive. They need us to be forward thinking. They need us to try even when it's hard. It's not easy though. It's like sometimes it's one step forward, 5 steps back, or we think we're gonna have solved the problem and then we're back to square one again. Or I'm not there in the room because the substitute was, in, and the kids are like falling apart because these are just kids. People think, wow, that means there's no limits and that means there's no rules, and that's not it at all. I've come to figure out, like, aha, I get it, or at least I think I do. We're teaching these kids the skills that they need so that they can stop at those limits that are being set, so that they do know how to follow the rules. But if we just keep giving them more rules, I just want to say to people, hello, how's it working? It's not. There are still colleagues around me who don't necessarily buy into it. And I know, even though I know it's the right thing to do, I also know that it's so much greater to have a support system. So I would say you need to do this. Get started in your classroom, read the book, let's talk about it. These are some of the things that I have done. It's just like with any of the professional things that we do. Hey, I've tried this. I've had a conversation with a friend over writing information, and I said, look, just trust the book. It's good. And he did it, and he's seeing amazing things. And now that's just what I say. Just trust the book. Just do it, because it's like a recipe. Follow it, follow it, follow it until it becomes part of who you are. And then the next time you turn around, you're not even going to realize it. And people are going to notice that your kids are doing things differently, that you're handling things differently. When you have those experiences, share them. Go to your administrator and say, look at what I've done. Try to document in some way, not to make more work for yourself, but just to say, look at where we started with this particular child. Look at what we've accomplished. Find as many, read. Just keep picking the book up, because whenever you don't have somebody, you can pick the book up and you're like, oh, I love reading and I love seeing it for the second or third or fourth time and seeing it new, and I wasn't particularly paying attention to that part because my mind was at some other place because of what was happening in my classroom, and I thought, oh, I didn't even think about that. Let me go back and do that. So find whatever resources you can and build a support system. Go to the parents. These parents have not had anybody believe in their kids. Their kid is the bad kid, and they think that they're the bad parent. It has got to be so freaking hard for those parents to deal with that behavior. These parents come to us as educators looking for hope and solutions. So if we know about, read the book and we're trying this, get the parents on board. If they see success with their kids at school, you can encourage the parents at home to be doing this, and now I've got the whole home to school connection. Collaborative problem solving helped me to have the confidence within myself to say, I'm just going to try it. And if I screw up, I can start over again tomorrow, because we don't have all the answers. It's a long process and it works. It has to work. I've seen it work. I don't have a problem with standing up for what is important, but I think that's exactly what needs to be done. So we've been doing it this way for how long and it's not working. Let's try it this way.